Hi everyone, this is Migs from Sneaks and Ball PH, and today we'll be comparing the Kyrie 6 and the Kyrie 7. To start things off, the reason why I made this comparison video is because there were a lot of people in the comment section asking me which one was better, the Kyrie 7 or the Kyrie 6. Because of course, the Kyrie 7 is the newest model and the Kyrie 6 being the older one is now found on outlets and on sales and whatnot, and you can actually get these for a super steal price. We will be comparing the Kyrie 6 and the Kyrie 7 in all of the major categories that we use in our performance reviews, and in the end, one will be declared the winner. So starting off with the traction, the Kyrie 6 makes use of these lines all throughout the outsole, and they are pretty multi-directional. Then on the Kyrie 7, you have that data-driven design, which has those pretty jagged looking lines and some random shapes that were supposedly shaped in this way because of pressure mapping on your feet to give you really good traction. Since both of these are Kyries, they both have that outsole curvature where that rubber comes up on the sides, especially here on the medial side, so that you still have really good traction coverage, even on movements such as low crossovers. On one hand, the traction on the Kyrie 6 was actually really good. It gripped the court pretty well, and you also didn't really need to wipe it that often. And the durability of the outsole was okay as well. However, for the traction, I'm gonna have to give the win to the Kyrie 7. The Kyrie 7's traction is actually one of the best we've had this year. And even though the traction on the Kyrie 6 is good, I feel that the traction on the Kyrie 7 is just a notch above. Then for the cushion, on paper, the Kyrie 6 and Kyrie 7 have the exact same cushion setup, because for both of these shoes, you have a full-length pylon midsole and a large volume zoom turbo unit here in the forefoot. However, even if on paper they are the same, they actually perform a little different. With the Kyrie 7, I feel like the cushion was caged just a little bit more than the Kyrie 6, and in the end, even though the zoom turbo is still a little bit bouncy and responsive and absorbs quite a bit of impact as well, I think it comes up short against the Kyrie 6. I'm giving the edge in terms of cushion to the Kyrie 6 because the zoom turbo on the Kyrie 6 just feels so much more bouncy than the ones on the Kyrie 7. It might just be because the Kyrie 7 does have a more rounded outsole, and it also might be because the rubber on the Kyrie 7 goes up and cages the midsole a little more than the Kyrie 6. Both of these shoes don't have anything other than the pylon in the heel, so if you are a heavy heel striker, I'm not sure if either would be the best option for you. But if you are a player that plays primarily on his forefoot, then these two are definitely a good option, but I still will take the Kyrie 6 over the Kyrie 7 in terms of cushion. Then for the materials, if you watched my performance review on the Kyrie 7, it is pretty much the weakness or the Waterloo of the Kyrie 7 because it did feel pretty cheap and pretty crunchy. Then when I tried breaking them in and taking them on court, that mesh started fraying on me and actually led me to believe that if I played with these a little more and a little more intensely, then I could have ripped something in the upper. You also really don't have any premium touches on the shoe except for maybe this heel part with this synthetic leather. So overall, for the materials on the Kyrie 7, it was a pretty underwhelming experience. The Kyrie 6 on the other hand didn't have those same issues. That textile here on the forefoot definitely isn't premium to the touch, but it is a lot better in my opinion compared to the mesh here on the Kyrie 7. Then an additional advantage of the Kyrie 6 is that you do have premium materials on the back half of the shoe. With this particular Oracle Aqua colorway of the Kyrie 6 that I have, you have this pretty nice feeling suede, but in the other colorways of the Kyrie 6, you actually have leather. So overall, for the materials, I think it's a no-brainer that the Kyrie 6 has the better materials. Not only do you have a better feeling textile that's also more durable, but you also have premium materials in the back half of the shoe, either in suede or in leather. Then for the support, Kyries have been known to be very supportive guard shoes, and with the Kyrie 6 and Kyrie 7, they're pretty much consistent with that as well. The base of both shoes are a bit rounded since that outsole comes up quite a bit, but you don't feel unstable or tippy in either shoe because they are sufficiently wide. Then both shoes do have very supportive materials. With the Kyrie 7, you have those lockdown and support wings, and with the Kyrie 6, you have that beefy midfoot strap that attaches all the way to the footbed. Both the Kyrie 6 and Kyrie 7 have beefy heel counters, but with the Kyrie 6, it's more of an external heel counter, while the Kyrie 7 has an internal one. Then for torsional support, I think the Kyrie Kyrie 6 has a little bit better torsional support, but it really wasn't an issue in either because I didn't feel any plantar fascia pain or any discomfort in general. So for the support on both shoes, I'm gonna have to give it a tie. They are both pretty supportive guard shoes and have most of the same support features as well. The only difference would be that the Kyrie 6 has a strap and the Kyrie 7 has those lockdown wings, and that the heel counter on the Kyrie 6 is external while the heel counter on the Kyrie 7 is internal. Both of these shoes are supposedly guard shoes, however they are supportive enough to be for small forwards, power forwards, and even centers. Then for fit and lockdown, my experience on the Kyrie 6 was a little bit of a problematic one because for one, they do fit a little bit short and feel a little bit narrow as well, which means that you should probably go up half a size in these. And my second issue on the Kyrie 6 was the strap because I do have a high instep, and if you don't know what an instep is, then imagine this was your foot, so these are your toes, and then this would be your heel, this would be your instep, and my instep is a little higher than normal. So with a strap like this that's pretty thick and that's also attached to the base of the shoe, and it was quite hard for me to even strap it in at all. And when I did try to strap it on, it felt quite tight. So what ended up being the best for me is to not have it strapped in at all, but that is kind of annoying because it's kind of just flopping around while I play, which is quite a bit distracting. So as you can tell, for the fit and lockdown on the Kyrie 6, it wasn't really the best for me. It might fit you a little bit better because like I said, I have a higher than average instep, which really gave me problems with this midfoot strap. Then for the Kyrie 7, it does fit pretty true to size, and it fits pretty much one-to-one. You also have these lockdown fingers that pretty much bring the materials right around your shoe, giving you a perfect fit. The forefoot also doesn't have any dead space above your toes and is pretty perfect lengthwise as well. The shoe is also not as narrow as the Kyrie 6, so you just really need to go true to size with the Kyrie 7. So because it does fit super well and those lockdown fingers really do a good job and a much better job than the strap on the Kyrie 6, I'm gonna have to give the win to the Kyrie 7. Then for the aesthetics, I do believe that both of these shoes look pretty good. But for me to give an accurate assessment for the aesthetics on these shoes, I'm gonna have to consider all the colorways of the shoe. I do really like the sisterhood colorway of the Kyrie 7. However, when I saw the other colorways, they were pretty underwhelming, which leads me to believe that the Kyrie 7 is one of those shoes that looks good in certain colorways and not so good in others. Then for the Kyrie 6, on the other hand, I think its design is a lot more versatile because I do like the really wild colorways of the Kyrie 6, such as this one, but there were also team colorway releases and other more subdued colorways that look just as good on the Kyrie 6. Then although I like how those lockdown fingers work and I disliked how that midfoot strap worked, I don't really like how those lockdown fingers look, and I like how the midfoot strap looks a lot more on the Kyrie 6. I also prefer the shape on the back half of the Kyrie 6 compared to the one on the Kyrie 7 because it does have that lip that kind of makes it look a little elf shoe-ish. Of course, that is a functional piece because it does make it easier for you to get your foot inside the shoe. But when we're just talking about the aesthetics, I'd much rather have the back half of the Kyrie 6. So overall for the aesthetics, I think I'm taking the Kyrie 6 just because I like the overall shape a lot better. I prefer the look of the midfoot strap over those lockdown fingers, and I feel like the Kyrie 6 is more versatile when it comes to colorways. Then for the price, both shoes did retail for $130 US, which makes them slightly towards the lower end of signature shoes, but of course they're not as cheap as the Nike PGs, the Nike Greek Freaks, the Adidas Dames, or the Adidas Don issues. You are getting good performing basketball shoes at this $130 price tag, and the only issue with the Kyries is that their materials aren't always the best, and especially with the materials on the Kyrie 7, they are pretty cheap. Their suggested retail prices are pretty much the same, so I think I'm gonna have to give them a tie. Then for my final verdict, it is really close in terms of the Kyrie 6 and Kyrie 7. The Kyrie 7 has the upper hand in terms of traction and fit and lockdown, while the Kyrie 6 has the upper hand in terms of cushion, materials, and overall aesthetics. They are both really supportive shoes and retailed for a reasonable $130 US. It also really comes down to preference because if you like more premium materials and a bouncier cushion setup, then the Kyrie 6 is definitely the way to go. But if you are a person that values fit and lockdown above anything else or traction above anything else, then the Kyrie 7 might be the better bet of the two. However, since it is a pretty close call between them, it might be a better bet if you're trying to save money to go with the Kyrie 6. Kyrie 6 has an advantage in terms of cushion and materials, and even though the traction on the Kyrie 7 is better, the Kyrie Kyrie 6 still has really good traction, and with the fit and lockdown on the Kyrie 6, just as long as you remember to go up half a size, I think you're pretty good to go. These are also heavily discounted by now, so as of the moment, I think you might be better off with the Kyrie 6. The Kyrie 7s will eventually be on some flash sales as well, so when that happens and both of these shoes are on sale, then it really just becomes a matter of preference. So there you have it guys, that was my comparison between the Kyrie 6 and the Kyrie 7. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot here at Sneaks in Ball PH.